Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of today's Best Stock Picks. It is Monday morning, August 10th, 2020. Hope you had a nice weekend. And today we're looking at the market kind of opening flat, which should not be surprising. The volume in the indices just kept decreasing last week as we kept floating higher. You can't fight the tape. I mean, that's really the point of tape reading. If you follow what I do, especially if you're in the boot camp and trading live with me right now, you know that we're not looking to fight the tape. It might be confusing or not be doing what it's supposed to do as it keeps drifting higher. But really, what's more important, light volume or the fact that it keeps going higher? The fact that it keeps going higher, but your spidey sense has to be tingling and say, all right, maybe I shouldn't be long aggressively right now. Might be time to start moving those trailing stops up. And I think that's a smart move right now. We're one good day away from the SPY ETF from hitting all-time highs again, which really, if you watch the news, is just almost incredible. But it really doesn't matter at this point. Again, what matters is the fact that we keep drifting higher. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world, unemployment, COVID, elections. It's apparently none of that matters right now because the market just keeps drifting higher, and that's all that matters. Now, of course, as I'm saying this today, we're opening up with a little indecision, but this isn't really about today. This is about the last 2 weeks, and did you make what you were supposed to? And we could take a look at the SPY in a second, where the SPY it's positive from the open 9 out of the last 10 days. We had 3 bullish gaps, and stocks were making all-time highs. What else is there to look at except finding a spot to buy? If you weren't looking for a spot to buy and you kept waiting and waiting for it to roll over, you missed an amazing week last week of trading. We nailed so many good ideas last week, and I called them here. They're in the community. Join the community. There'll be a link down there, down below this video in the description for you to learn more about it. And more importantly, not what I'm saying, see how other people are doing in the boot camp. When you have a good strategy, when you do a good job of game planning, then it's really just a matter of sitting back and looking for entries. And really our biggest problem right now is how are we managing winning trades, which is an unbelievably good problem to have. And that's my promise to everybody. If you're with me after 30 days or within that 30-day window, you first learn what not to do, and then you learn how to capitalize when you wipe out all those garbage ideas, and now you're just focusing on good trades. So today we're gonna build a list, and kind of a weird list where FedEx and UPS are kind of the stocks that are breaking out right now. Got a lot of questions last week about Apple. Apple actually rolled over. It's nothing more than profit taking. Of course, there was a headline about U.S.-China tensions. That's the same headline that made it collapse, that one giant red candle prior to earnings before it bounced $100. So how much are you going to read into the U.S.-China headlines and how much is going to affect Apple? It was profit taking. There's no other way to put it. So let's head over to the charts. Let's find some ideas, and we'll get a grip on what we're going to be looking at today. As I said here in the SPY, we actually had a trading range here. We removed the trading range, and now we're looking at all-time highs again, which is pretty interesting. Definitely interesting. So bottom line is, from where we bounced to where we are now, this is 9 out of 10 days. We had 3 bullish gaps in here. We continue to stay above the opening price, which shows buying after the open. That's a big deal. It's one thing for overnight orders to kick in, but buying after the open is continued. So look, I am expecting a little bit of a choppy day today. I expected it on Friday. We actually did get that. It just happened to be above and below the open. If you're not a day trader, this is really what I mean. You can see a picture of Friday. This was the mark. This was the SPY on Friday. We went up and down, up and down. But here's the thing. It stayed above the open for most of the day. And then when it finally did get below, it rocketed and actually closed on the highs, which kind of made this day look deceiving on the daily candlestick, because you could see we were basically just back and forth. But here's the most important part, is that it was above the open, which meant after the market opened, buying remained, and the selling just wasn't able to push it down. So look, I'm expecting a little bit of profit taking this week. I'm expecting a little bit of choppiness. And look, you can't complain about 1 or 2 days of profit taking when the market's basically been up 6 weeks in a row. It's the natural order of the market. Now, again, we're not trading a normal market with the Fed stimulus package under there, but that's the normal market, where you push up and you pause, you push up and you pause. It's just that the pauses are a lot more brief and less violent right now with the Fed stimulus package. So we're going to start out with talking about, I know, big stock this week with news, a New York Times article that has the stock opening a little bit lower this morning. Whether you think the Times can knock the stock around or not, it doesn't matter. It's going to be in play today. So if you're an active trader, whether it's day trading or swing trading, going to be looking for the stock. We're looking for it to get back to 22. We're basically going to open up right at the bottom of this range. Now, I'm not really big on buying support and selling resistance when the stock is stuck in a range. I'm very well known for let it get out of that range, let it tip its hand, and then we'll hop on board. We've got a little bit of news volatility today in a stock that's been relatively strong. So if we open lower, find a bid, and we get some entries, I might start dipping my toes in here looking for a day trade to hold for the day if the buying comes back in. So keep an eye on INO today. DOCU is probably going to be one of my more aggressive trades today, for lack of a better way of putting it. Obviously, to give you some context, you can see the daily chart here, but look at the monthly chart. That's what it looks like prior to August. So the stock is just on fire for the last year, so to speak, and obviously COVID really helping that along. So today with the stock showing indecision for 2 days, pulling back for 2 days, and closing off of Friday's lows, it's actually a little bit higher right now as I film this, but I'm looking for the stock to open here, push lower, retest Friday's low, and then look for a spot to buy to initiate a new swing trade. So that's going to be one of my top trades today. Zillow, with the real estate market exploding yesterday. Now, a lot of people are getting caught in these gaps, trading in the first day after the gap. I personally like to let the gap settle in. At the minimum, I want to see the whether it fills the gap, whether it holds the gap. The longer it holds the gap, the more likely it's going to be a good swing trade back in that direction. So I'm not going to trade this stock today, but I am looking for it to pause to initiate a new trade to the upside, because quite frankly, that's a $7, $8 gap. I'm not willing to risk $8 for this stock to prove to me it's going to bounce again. That's a monster move for this particular stock. So I want to see it consolidate for a day or two before I look for a new swing trade. So keep that in your list. GSX actually was one on Friday that was just amazing. It was a $40 reversal, maybe even a little more than that, almost 50. So what do? The stock was on fire prior to that, and it was very, very tradable. So I'm looking for this stock to find a bid today. So what does that mean? The minimum criteria is I want to see it stay above Friday's low, which shouldn't have a problem doing that. And then I'm also looking for it to be outside of the opening range today. The opening price might be a little bit too soon with how volatile the stock is. I want to see it settle in the first 15, 30 minutes and then look for a spot to bid. If it's trading below those levels after that, we might be getting some more follow-through to the downside. So being very strict with the criteria. And then I'm looking for it to retest the 130, 135 level if it catches a bid again. CVNA was another one that was incredibly, incredibly strong. Thursday's price action was so obvious of a blow off top there. I'm actually looking, even though it's an inside candlestick right now, the size of the candlestick and the violent nature of Thursday and Friday, I'm looking for the stock to settle in for one more day before we start initiating a new swing trade. So these are important because the market's so frothy right now, you still need to be making a list. Even if you're not actively trading them today, I say it all the time in the boot camp, if a trade's in your list, you have no reason in the world to miss an entry in that trade. So this has to be in your list looking for the next move. OSTK, I'm not sure, you guys are probably tired of me talking about this, but you can see what the stock has done, 55 to 112, I believe it was, over the last week and a half. Gosh, I hope you were involved in this stock with us. It's been one of the easier stocks to read. It's been one of the easier stocks to be confident in. We traded and pushed off the highs quite a bit on Friday. So again, I would day trade this stock long. I would not be swing trading the stock long. To me, it's doubled, almost more than doubled. Actually, it has doubled in price in just over a week. So you have to be saying to yourself, what are the odds of this stock following through right now? Where is this stock going to be 3 to 5 days from now? Is it possible it could continue to go like that? Yeah, it's possible. Is it likely? No, it's not likely. So moving up a trailing stop on an existing swing trade, letting it pull back for a day or two, and then looking for an entry. So here's the point, though, because I know it's going to be brought up. You're going to be like, oh, well, what about a stock for today? Well, let me ask you, did you take advantage of the stock the last 2 weeks? And if you did, awesome. Congratulations. That means you're probably in the boot camp with me right now. If you didn't, ask yourself, why not? What did you miss? What did you look at? What weren't you seeing for the next time an opportunity like this lines up and continues? Be a good trader and ask yourself, what did I miss? So the next time that unfolds, you're on top of it instead of saying, gosh, well, I always miss those trades. Well, ask yourself why. Ask yourself what you didn't see in the order flow. Ask yourself what you didn't see in the tape. What were you looking at that this stock that went from 55 to 110 in a week and a half, what didn't you see? That's an important question to ask. Another one that was called out by Venkat in the community this week, JMIA, inside candlesticks on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday bounced again. Friday was that daily candlestick looks a lot better than it actually was. It was a little bit choppy on Friday. There was a couple of entries that failed, but because of how strong the stock has been since June, we're still looking to bid the stock long. So if you're not long the stock already, we're looking to be long above Friday's high today, and that's the same area. We're looking to day trade it at. FedEx and believe it or not, UPS, both exploded on Friday. I'm watching my list light up all day. I'm like, what is going on with these two stocks? This is good news. This is good news for the economy that these stocks are bouncing and trading strong like this. And again, this is what I meant about waiting the gap and letting it settle in. You can see here clearly the trades became a little bit easier, where the downside risk was a lot easier to measure, and especially a lot easier to spot. I'm still looking to be long. I would not be swing trading it after the stock has now gone from 120 to 156 in just over a week. Absolutely love the stock long, both of them, FedEx and UPS. Day trading it right now, looking for a spot to swing trade it again. Would love to see a pullback. PENN, man, what's not to say? I've been talking about this stock for a while. We finally let it get above this 34. It got above the 34 and produced just two amazing trades where it basically went from 34 to 45, which is a pretty big move for this stock. This, other than this one little blip here in May, which is the other time that it was very easy to trade, this is the only time in a long time where the stock has had two really solid bullish moves like that. So if this stock opens higher today and pushes higher, and you are already swing trading the stock, I'd be looking to scale out, because this is more, even though it's all-time highs, this is more than what the stock normally does. So if you trade in that same window that I do, that 3 to 5 day window, we're looking for profit taking on a higher opening today, not looking to add to a new trade, but absolutely this week, if we pause, looking to initiate a new trade maybe a day or two from now. STT and some of the banks were actually pretty interesting this week. They actually caught a bid, and it was kind of weird to see, just because they've been in the doghouse for such a long time. But I brought this one up because it actually traded on heavier volume on Friday, and it's different from a lot of the other, even though you could see this as a trading range, look at the consistency of the buying from one day to the next. We don't have a lot of room to go, maybe another $5 profit potential, but past that, then we're looking up in the mid 80s. So this will be on my list today of stocks to watch. Somebody in the community called out this stock last week, and now it's actually pausing CHGG. So I like the pause to be initiating a new swing trade, not a day trade, but I'm going to be initiating a new long here. PayPal and Square round out the list. Both of them actually super strong the last couple of months, looking for a pullback here. Again, the same spot that I'm looking for DOCUSign. This didn't pull back for 2 days, but if it does pull back, test yesterday's low, and we see a buying signal in the community, we're going to dip our toes in and look for feedback and get some follow through. If we put our initial trade on, it doesn't follow through, no big deal. Just take a loss and look for another entry. This stock and Square might need one more down day before we feel comfortable, but I like the fact that now Square has gapped and stayed there for 3 days. That's a good visualization of what I was talking about. So I'd be leaning on Square, I think, a little bit more than PayPal. So those are the ideas for today. If you are not in the boot camp, definitely get in there. We've had some amazing trades last week. I think the Facebook trade alone last week made for the week, but then we also had AMD, we had OSTK. It was just, when you're in the right stocks, trading becomes fun because you know what you're looking at and you're in the right opportunities, and you don't feel like you're fighting the market all day. So I think this week, and specifically today and tomorrow, I think we're going to have a little bit tougher trading with profit taking, some stocks maybe needing to pull back that have gotten really super frothy. And if and when we do that, that means we're going to have some amazing trading if we pause. You're still looking for longs only. If we pause, though, and pull back or even consolidate for a couple of days, it's going to give us some really nice opportunities Wednesday through Friday. So we got some good ideas here today. I think that we just need to set up a little bit of better profit profile before we take off again. So we're within, keep an eye on that SPY. It's within all-time highs again. That would be pretty special if we actually hit up there again. Can we follow through from there? Nobody knows. Let's see what happens. Nobody thought we were going to bounce this hard and stay up here with all the economic news, but stock market's a forecasting tool, and it's saying that the market's going to be, the economy is going to be good 6 months from now. And I've got a lot of help from the Fed. No doubt about that. And they're still talking about more. Let's see. All I know is we're bullish right now. It's just a question of profit potential. So have a great day, everybody. Definitely subscribe. And if you want to trade together, definitely click down and see what we're doing in the boot camp. Have a great day.